I have an opportunity to introduce somebody who has just fed my soul. You know, our souls eat as much as our body eat food. Have you guys heard the word called courage? So this guy won an award for courage. And courage is the force within us that helps us overcome fear. He also won another award was given to him also by the Queen Elizabeth. You know, they select 60 young people from Commonwealth countries and they give them award. The closest I got to her was in one event where I was distracted by a beautiful woman. So I went to shake her hand. Queen Elizabeth was next to my seat, and when I came back, she left. So this young man here has an opportunity to get an award. His name is Joannes Paulus, and he demonstrated courage. So everybody give him a big hand.
Thank you, Emmanuel. My name is Joannes Paulus Yimbesalu. I'm originally from Cameroon. According to UNESCO, 124 million children and adolescents were out of school in 2013. 59 million will never attend primary school. Of this number, 30 million live in sub-Saharan Africa. This is the future of a generation whose contribution is vital for Africa's economic growth and social development, and is likely to remain stagnated. The good news is, despite these failing numbers, primary school enrollment has increased by 75% to 144 million in 2012. Gender gaps are narrowing. More kids are making it through secondary school. The bad news, progress towards universal primary education has stalled because governments are failing to extend opportunities to the hardest to reach children. I recently visited the towns of Dosso and Duchi in rural Niger, one of the 35 crisis-affected countries where 75 million children aged 3 to 18 need educational support. Poor learning outcomes in primary schools result in just 28% of Africa's youth being enrolled into secondary school, while another 90 million youth struggle to find low-paid jobs. In the absence of an urgent drive to raise standards, 61 million in total will reach adolescence lacking the basic learning skills which they need and their countries to escape poverty. In my country of Cameroon, despite government's effort to put every child in school, attendance rate is barely 65%. This session, my friends, is about using technology to help teach children employable skills. However, in some countries, there are more fundamental and urgent needs. Over 80% of head teachers in Cameroon say budgets don't arrive on them on time, and they lack the basic school materials and supplies to facilitate learning. According to Transparency International, 50% of primary schools have poor infrastructures. Only 19% had working toilets, 30% had access to tap water, and barely 30% had enough tables and benches for these students to learn. Through Hope for Children Cameroon, which I co-founded, we provide educational assistance such as benches, writing materials, uniforms, learning aids, computers to primary schools. We are serving over 1,300 children, helping them to become creative, to reason, and to solve very complex problems. We also realized that school absenteeism from diarrhea-related diseases was very high, and so we embarked on constructing safe pit toilets so that children and teachers can stay in school. Since then, school absenteeism has reduced by 27%, and teachers are now staying longer in schools. With the African youth population expected to grow by 43 million by 2020, over 470 million jobs will be needed globally in the labor force between 2016 and 2030. Hence, the need for investment in key skills to drive economic growth. Companies are shifting towards demand for high-level skills, while low and medium-skilled jobs are becoming obsolete. To meet these demands in the near future requires innovation within the educational system, which has become obsolete, especially in developing countries. For years now, technology has failed to provide solutions to these problems. And while we may blame the tech industry, Some blame can be attributed to the hostile, bureaucratic, and poor infrastructure plaguing the current educational system. With sub-Saharan Africa now considered the world's fastest growing mobile technology region, there is huge promise towards digital learning, making it possible to bring low-cost access to education. Billions has been spent on financing education in developing countries, often resulting in poor outcomes. Using technology to fix underperforming schools may not always be the solution, but failure to try and harness technology could end up damaging the lives of millions of children. We need to invest in teacher training, personalized learning, and supporting teachers with livable wages. We need to incentivize parents so that children, especially girls, can stay in school. For every dollar we invest in an additional year of school, generates an additional $10 in health and earnings in low-income countries. Unless African governments and international community work in close partnership to raise educational standards, the future of millions of children will be wasted, one we cannot afford to risk. To you, my fellow delegates, I challenge you all to continue to hold your governments responsible to make sure that they keep to their commitments, which they made in 2015, to have every child in school and learning by 2030, because we are a one young world. As Nelson Mandela once said, any nation which does not care for its children is no nation at all. Education cannot wait. Thank you.